You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning, expecting to feel rested, ready to take on the world, only to find yourself completely drained as if you haven't slept a wink? It's frustrating, isn't it? You went to bed early, you even turned off your phone, well, most of the time. And yet, you're still hitting that snooze button for the 5th time. You might be thinking, is this just how life is now? Or maybe, why can't I get a good night's sleep like everyone else? Well, I've been there. A lot of people have been there. In fact, you're not alone. And here's the thing. Many of us think we're doing everything right to get better sleep. We've heard the tips: avoid caffeine before bed, keep the room cool, and make sure to sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. But despite following all these rules, we still wake up feeling groggy or worse, tossing and turning throughout the night. So, what's going on here? Why is it that even though you're trying to stick to the right routine, something isn't clicking? The truth is, there's so much more happening behind the scenes than most of us realize when it comes to sleep. And the things you think are helping, they might actually be making things worse. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how some people just seem to fall asleep without a second thought? It's like they're blessed with some kind of superpower. They hit the pillow and boom, they're out. But for you, well, it's more like you're battling your own mind just to get comfortable. And let me tell you, I get it. I've been there too. And I know what you're probably thinking. I've tried everything. I follow the advice. I've got the perfect sleep environment, and yet sleep remains elusive. Here's the kicker though. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just that the sleep advice we're all given misses some critical hidden factors. Things that are not talked about enough, but are backed by hard science. Now, let me let you in on something most people don't realize. The reason you might not be sleeping well has less to do with your habits and more to do with the way your body is wired. Yeah, your brain, your hormones, and even the environment around you are all involved in this intricate dance that determines whether or not you sleep like a baby or toss and turn all night. In fact, you could be doing everything right and still be sabotaging your sleep without even knowing it. The good news, you can fix it. In today's episode, we're going to dive into the real reasons you're not sleeping right. And I'm not just talking about surface level issues like drinking coffee late at night, though we'll cover that too. We're going deeper. We're going to look at the science of sleep, what's actually happening in your body and brain when you sleep, why your sleep cycle might be getting disrupted, and most importantly, what you can do about it. It turns out that the problems affecting your sleep are more common than you think, and surprisingly, they're often things we're not aware of. But first, I want you to really think about this. How much of your day is spent battling fatigue? If you're like most people, it's a lot. You wake up feeling tired, you drag through the afternoon, and by the time evening hits, you're either wired and can't wind down, or completely spent and just want to collapse into bed. But then, you stare at the ceiling for hours, waiting for sleep to come. It's a vicious cycle that leaves you frustrated and wondering if it will ever end. But here's the thing, this doesn't have to be your reality. You don't have to accept being tired all the time as normal. Now, I get it. Sleep is one of those things that can feel so out of our control. You can't just will yourself to sleep better, right? But what if I told you there are specific scientifically proven factors that you can control that could completely shift the way you sleep? And what if those factors are simpler than you might think? You see, there are hidden culprits that you probably never considered. These aren't just things like too much screen time before bed, though that's certainly a factor. These are deeper biological issues that have to do with how your body is wired to sleep, from hormone imbalances to environmental factors that you might not even realize are disrupting your circadian rhythm. The reasons behind your sleep problems go far beyond what you've been told. But I promise you, once you understand these hidden reasons, everything starts to click. You'll realize why all those tips you've been following weren't enough, and you'll finally have the tools to fix it. So, are you ready to find out why you're not sleeping right? By the end of this episode, you'll have the knowledge to take control of your sleep, and I'm going to walk you through some scientifically backed solutions that can help you not only get more sleep, but also get better sleep. Here's the thing about sleep. It's not just about how long you stay in bed. It's about the quality of that sleep. I've spent years studying this, and it turns out that how you sleep is just as important as how much you sleep. The science is clear. If you're not getting into the deeper stages of sleep, you're missing out on all the restorative benefits that come with it. And guess what? There are specific science-backed reasons why that's happening. And I'm going to explain them to you today. So let's stop guessing and start uncovering the truth. Together, we're going to dig into the real reasons behind your sleep struggles, break down the science in a way that makes sense, and explore the simple steps you can take to turn your sleep around. Trust me, the answers you've been searching for are closer than you think. If you've ever found yourself staring at the ceiling, wondering why you're so tired all the time, despite doing everything you should to sleep better, you're in the right place. Stick with me as we uncover the science behind why you're not sleeping right, and how to fix it once and for all. You've probably heard this before, but I'm going to say it again because it's the foundation of this whole conversation. You might think you're doing everything right when it comes to sleep, right? You've set up the perfect environment, the blackout curtains, the comfy mattress, the right temperature. You follow the rules that everyone talks about. No screens an hour before bed, no caffeine after noon, and you've even tried the warm cup of tea. But despite your best efforts, it still doesn't seem to work. You're lying in bed at night, maybe scrolling through your phone for a bit, and then suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you're still wide awake. And when you finally fall asleep, you toss and turn until the alarm goes off, leaving you feeling like you didn't even sleep at all. Sound familiar? So, what's the deal? Why isn't all that sleep advice working for you? The truth is, there's more going on than what meets the eye. We often hear that sleep issues are just about the basics, like sticking to a bedtime routine or limiting caffeine. But it's not that simple. The problem is deeper. And when I say deeper, I mean that there are invisible forces at play that you've probably never even considered. Take a moment and think about it. How many times have you thought, maybe I just need more willpower? You know, if you can just force yourself to go to bed earlier, then everything will be fine. Or maybe you've convinced yourself that if you just stop using your phone before bed, that's the magic solution. But despite trying all these quick fixes, you still find yourself lying there, staring at the ceiling. Now, I want to challenge you to think about your sleep a little differently. Instead of blaming yourself or assuming that something's wrong with your routine, what if it's not about your behavior at all? What if there are hidden factors working against you? Things in your body, your brain, and even the environment around you that are more responsible for your sleepless nights than anything else. Think about this. Your body has its own internal clock, a system that governs your sleep-wake cycle, and we call it the circadian rhythm. You've probably heard of it before, but have you ever really stopped to think about how it works? Your circadian rhythm is like a finely tuned orchestra, with different hormones and systems playing in harmony. When everything works right, it signals to your body when it's time to be awake and when it's time to sleep. But what happens when that rhythm gets thrown off? What happens when there's too much light exposure at night or too much stress during the day? That's when everything starts to fall apart. Let's take a closer look at light. You've probably heard that you should avoid blue light from your phone or laptop before bed. And yes, that's true. But there's more to the story than just dimming your screens. Light, especially the kind that comes from our environment, has an enormous effect on your sleep. You see, your body is tuned to wake up with natural sunlight. And when that sunlight hits your eyes in the morning, it tells your brain, hey, it's time to wake up. It's a signal to your body to start producing hormones like cortisol, which gets you alert and ready for the day. But here's the kicker. That same natural sunlight exposure is what keeps your circadian rhythm in check, helping your body know when it's time to wind down at night. But what if your schedule or lifestyle doesn't let you get that exposure? Or what if you're exposed to bright lights at night, like the lights from your kitchen or your phone? It's like trying to play a song with an offbeat drum. It disrupts the whole rhythm. And speaking of rhythm, let's talk about something else that might be sabotaging your sleep: hormones. Your brain doesn't just turn off and on when it's time for sleep. It has a very specific process that happens throughout the day. One of the most important hormones in that process is melatonin. You've probably heard of it. Melatonin is often called the sleep hormone because it helps signal your body that it's time to sleep. But here's the thing. Melatonin doesn't just magically appear when the lights go out. It's a result of your body's natural processes, triggered by things like light and your body's internal clock. If you've been staying up late and exposing yourself to artificial light, melatonin is delayed, and suddenly your brain is not getting the signal to wind down. You might lie in bed feeling exhausted, but your body can't seem to switch off. But melatonin isn't the only hormone at play. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is another big one. Cortisol has its own rhythm, and when it's elevated too late in the day, it makes it nearly impossible to fall asleep. Have you ever noticed how, when you're stressed, you can't stop thinking? Maybe you're tossing and turning, your mind racing with thoughts of the day ahead, or you're replaying a conversation from earlier. That's cortisol at work. It's your body's fight or flight response. And while it's great for surviving a stressful situation, it's not so great when it comes to sleep. In fact, high levels of cortisol at night can make you feel like you're wide awake, even when you're dead tired. Now, I know you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, but what do I do about it? If there's so much working against me, how can I possibly get a good night's sleep? And that's the key question, isn't it? Because you're trying your hardest to follow the advice, and yet it's not working. But here's where I want you to pay close attention. What if I told you that these invisible factors, things like light exposure, cortisol, and melatonin disruption, are often the things that we completely overlook? We focus so much on habits, routines, and quick fixes that we forget about the bigger picture. It's like trying to fix a broken chair by tightening the legs without looking at the loose screws. You're not addressing the real cause of the problem. The unfortunate reality is that many of us have normalized poor sleep. We assume that this is just part of life, that being tired all the time is normal for adults. Maybe it's because we're juggling 1,000 things at once, or because we're dealing with the pressures of work, family, or social life. But what if this was never the way it was supposed to be? What if we could actually unlock the secret to better sleep by looking at the right things? Here's the truth. Poor sleep is more than just a nighttime problem. It's a daytime issue that affects how we feel, how we think, and how we function. It impacts our moods, our productivity, and even our physical health. We've all heard that sleep is important, but it's time we really understood why it's important and how it's connected to so much more than just the number of hours we spend in bed. So let's stop assuming that there's no solution, because there is a solution, and it starts with understanding the hidden factors that disrupt your sleep. Once you begin to uncover these underlying causes, you can start taking steps that will help you get the restful, restorative sleep you deserve. It won't happen overnight, but I promise you, it's possible. And when we dive into the science and solutions in the next part of this episode, you'll see exactly why your sleepless nights don't have to be your reality anymore. In the meantime, think about this. What if it's not you? What if your body's trying to tell you something, and the solution is simpler than you think? So, now we're diving deep into the real reasons you're not sleeping right. And I'm not talking about the common tips that you've probably already heard 100 times. You know, things like cutting out caffeine before bed or trying to turn off your devices an hour before sleep. We're going to explore what's really going on inside your body and your brain when the lights go out, and why that's messing with your ability to get the kind of restful sleep you deserve. Think about it. We all know what it feels like to wake up feeling like you didn't sleep at all, even though you were technically in bed for a full 7 or 8 hours. It's like you've been tossed around in your sleep, like your body is trying to rest, but something is keeping it from fully shutting down. Or maybe you fall asleep just fine, but you wake up a few hours later, wide awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering what happened. It's frustrating, right? The truth is, there's a lot happening in your body when you sleep, and understanding these hidden reasons can shed light on why your best efforts at sleep often fall short. First, let's talk about the most powerful system at play here, the circadian rhythm. If you've heard of it before, you probably know it as your internal clock, but it's so much more than that. Your circadian rhythm regulates nearly everything in your body: sleep, hormones, body temperature, and even your digestion. It's like this intricate web of signals running through your body, coordinating everything so that things happen at the right time. When your circadian rhythm is in sync, it makes falling asleep easier. When it's off, though, that's when sleep becomes a battle. Have you ever noticed that when you travel to a different time zone, your sleep schedule gets completely messed up? You're probably familiar with jet lag. It's this brutal experience where your body isn't in sync with the new time zone. You might be exhausted during the day, but come nighttime, your body just won't go to sleep. That's your circadian rhythm being disrupted. It's like trying to drive a car with the wrong directions. No matter how much you try to follow them, you're not getting where you need to go. Now, the problem is that even if you're not traveling across the world, your circadian rhythm can still get thrown off. Think about your daily routine. You wake up, you check your phone, and you're probably exposed to bright, artificial light. You might drink a coffee or two, which is fine in moderation, but caffeine can mess with your circadian rhythm, especially if it's too late in the day. Then, you're working through the day, your body gets stressed out, and you're exposed to more artificial light in the evening. By the time bedtime rolls around, your brain doesn't know what time it is. It's like having an alarm clock set for the wrong time. Your body just doesn't know when it's supposed to sleep. Here's where it gets interesting. Your brain, specifically the part called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, it's a mouthful I know, is responsible for keeping your circadian rhythm on track. But it doesn't work alone. Light plays a huge role in signaling to your brain when to wake up and when to sleep. If you're exposed to blue light from your phone, computer, or TV late at night, that's telling your brain, hey, it's still daytime, don't go to sleep yet. The problem is that since we live in an age where we're constantly plugged in, this exposure to artificial light can keep us awake long after we should have gone to bed. That's one of the reasons why so many of us struggle with sleep. We're essentially tricking our brains into thinking it's daytime when it's really not. But light exposure is just one piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about hormones, because honestly, they are one of the main players in the sleep game. You've probably heard of melatonin, the so-called sleep hormone, right? It's this natural chemical that your brain releases when it's time to wind down. When your body produces melatonin, you start to feel sleepy, and your body gets ready for sleep. But melatonin production is closely tied to the light around you. When it's dark, your brain gets the signal to produce melatonin. But if you're exposed to light, especially blue light, at night, your melatonin production gets delayed or even blocked. This is why it can be so hard to fall asleep if you've been staring at your phone right before bed. Your brain can't produce enough melatonin to get you into a deep, restful sleep. But here's the kicker. Melatonin isn't the only hormone at play when it comes to sleep. Cortisol, often called the stress hormone, plays a huge role in your ability to sleep. Normally, cortisol should be highest in the morning when you wake up and gradually decrease throughout the day. It's part of your body's natural wake-up process. But when you're stressed out, whether from work, personal issues, or even just a busy day, your body's cortisol levels stay high for longer. And when cortisol is high at night, it disrupts your ability to relax and sleep. If your body is still in fight or flight mode, it doesn't matter how tired you are. Your brain can't shut off. Have you ever laid awake at night, replaying everything that happened during the day, or stressing about what's coming tomorrow? That's cortisol at work, keeping your body in an alert state even when you just want to sleep. Now, this is where things get even more complicated. A lot of people think that poor sleep is just about having trouble falling asleep. But there's more going on when you sleep than just lying down and closing your eyes. Your sleep is broken down into different stages, each one serving a specific purpose. You've got light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Each of these stages is necessary for your brain and body to repair and rejuvenate. The deep sleep stage, in particular, is crucial for physical restoration. This is when your body cells repair themselves, when muscles rebuild, and when your immune system strengthens. If you're not getting enough deep sleep, you're missing out on all these restorative benefits, which is why you wake up feeling groggy and sluggish. It's not just about the quantity of sleep, it's about the quality. REM sleep, on the other hand, is vital for mental restoration. This is the stage where your brain consolidates memories, processes emotions, and even works through problems. If you're not getting enough REM sleep, you might find yourself forgetful, emotionally drained, or having trouble concentrating during the day. But if your circadian rhythm is off or your hormones are out of whack, your body can't move through these sleep stages properly. It's like trying to complete a marathon without the right shoes. You might make it to the end, but it's going to be a struggle. And then there's something called sleep inertia. If you've ever woken up feeling like you're in a fog, that's sleep inertia. It's this groggy, disoriented feeling that happens when you wake up during the wrong stage of sleep. Ideally, you want to wake up during light sleep or REM sleep, but if you're waking up in the middle of deep sleep, that's when the fog sets in. This happens more often than you might realize, especially if you're waking up multiple times during the night, or if your sleep cycle is disrupted. At this point, you might be wondering, how do I fix all this? How do I get my body back on track? Well, first off, the fact that you're understanding these hidden factors is a huge step in the right direction. The good news is, all of these systems, the circadian rhythm, your hormones, your sleep stages, are responsive. They can be adjusted with the right actions. You don't have to accept poor sleep as your permanent reality. You can regain control, and I'm going to show you how. But before we get to the solutions, let's take a moment to really reflect on this. How many times have you just accepted bad sleep as part of your life? How often have you thought, I'm just one of those people who doesn't sleep well? What if all this time, it wasn't about you at all? What if it's your body's systems being out of sync, and all it needs is a little nudge back into place? So let's keep digging into the science of sleep. It's not just about being tired, it's about understanding how the whole system works and how small changes can make a big difference. There's more to uncover, and the solutions are within reach. Stick with me because we're just getting started. Now that we've laid out all the pieces of the puzzle, the struggles, the hidden reasons, and the science behind why sleep has been such a battle for so many of us, let's talk about what we can do about it. Because here's the good news. All of this can be fixed. And no, I'm not talking about some magical cure or quick fix. I'm talking about real, science-backed solutions that will actually help you sleep better. The things you can start doing today that will gradually reset your body's rhythm, recalibrate your hormones, and get you the restful, rejuvenating sleep you've been craving. It's easy to feel defeated when you're stuck in that cycle of sleepless nights, but I'm here to tell you, it doesn't have to be this way. There are steps you can take right now, adjustments you can make, and they're not as complicated as they might seem. They're simple, effective, and, most importantly, they work. And once you start implementing these changes, you'll begin to feel that weight lifted. You'll wake up feeling refreshed. You'll notice that, finally, your body is syncing up with the natural rhythm it's meant to follow. Let's start with the most important one, the one that's been silently sabotaging you this whole time: light exposure. Now, I know we've already touched on light a bit, but let's dive deeper. You see, light is one of the most powerful cues your body has for regulating its internal clock. It tells your brain when to be alert and when it's time to wind down. And if you're constantly surrounded by artificial light, especially blue light from screens, you're tricking your brain into thinking it's still daytime, even when it's time for bed. So, what do you do about it? Well, the first step is to get as much natural sunlight as possible during the day. I know you're probably thinking, that sounds simple enough. But here's the catch. A lot of people miss the mark here. How many of us spend most of the day indoors, stuck at a desk, or on the couch? It's easy to lose track of how much natural light we're getting, and trust me, this is one of the most important factors in getting your sleep cycle back on track. So, start by getting outside, even if it's just for 15 minutes during the morning. Let that natural sunlight hit your eyes. It doesn't even matter if it's cloudy. It's the exposure that counts. Then, as the day winds down, you want to shift gears. This is where the magic of the evening routine happens. As the sun sets, you've got to start winding down too. You're not just turning off your screens and hoping for the best. You're actually preparing your body to release melatonin. And the best way to do that is to reduce your exposure to bright artificial light. Try to avoid using your phone, laptop, or watching TV in the hours leading up to bedtime. I know it's tempting to scroll through social media or watch that last episode of your favorite show, but trust me, it's doing more harm than good. Instead, opt for dim, warm lights. And if you really want to go the extra mile, consider getting some blue light blocking glasses. They're a simple investment that can make a huge difference in how quickly your body starts producing melatonin, the hormone that tells you, hey, it's time to sleep. But let's take it a step further. If you've been struggling with sleep for a while, your body's circadian rhythm is probably a bit out of whack. So, what can you do to help reset it? This is where one of the most effective tools comes in: the power of consistency. It's not just about going to bed at a reasonable hour, it's about making that bedtime a non-negotiable. I know life is busy, and sometimes we have to stay up later than we'd like, but the more consistently you go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, the more you're giving your body the chance to sync up with its natural rhythm. So, what does this look like in practice? Well, it means setting a bedtime that allows for 7 to 9 hours of sleep and sticking to it, even on weekends. I get it. Weekends are supposed to be your time to sleep in, but trust me, it's better for you in the long run to wake up and go to bed at the same time every day. Your body thrives on routine. By making this a habit, you'll eventually find yourself getting sleepy at the right time, and you'll wake up feeling naturally energized without that groggy, sluggish feeling that comes from messing with your sleep schedule. Now, while consistency is key, let's not forget the importance of creating a sleep-friendly environment. Think about your bedroom. Is it truly a sanctuary for sleep? If it's full of distractions, whether it's too much light, noise, or just a cluttered mess, it can be hard for your body to fully relax and slip into that deep, restorative sleep. I want you to imagine this for a second. A dark, cool, quiet room where your bed is inviting and comfortable. Sounds ideal, right? Well, that's exactly the kind of environment you need to promote sleep. Start with the basics. Invest in blackout curtains if your room gets too much light from outside. Make sure your mattress and pillows are comfortable and supportive. The temperature should be on the cooler side, around 60 to 67 degrees. Fahrenheit is ideal. You want your body to naturally lower its core temperature as you sleep, so keeping your room cool helps facilitate that process. And let's not forget about noise. If you live in a noisy area or have a partner who snores, you might want to invest in a white noise machine or some noise-canceling earplugs. Sound can be a huge disruptor to sleep, And while it might seem like you're fine at first, those little disturbances throughout the night are taking a toll on your quality of sleep, even if you don't realize it. But here's the thing that most people overlook. Your sleep routine doesn't just start when you hit the pillow. It actually begins earlier in the day. If you want to sleep well, it's not just about what you do at night, it's about how you set yourself up during the day. Let's talk about stress for a moment. If you've been dealing with anxiety, work stress, or just the general chaos of life, it's no wonder you're having trouble falling asleep. Your body is in fight or flight mode, even when you're lying in bed, which is making it nearly impossible to relax. But here's the good news. You can take control of your stress before it takes control of you. And the solution doesn't involve hours of meditation or complicated techniques. Though, hey, if that's your thing, go for it. A simple way to start is by incorporating some form of relaxation into your routine every evening. This could be as simple as practicing deep breathing exercises or stretching. In fact, doing gentle yoga or stretching right before bed can work wonders for calming your nervous system and signaling to your body that it's time to wind down. If you're someone who struggles with racing thoughts at night, try journaling before bed. Write down everything on your mind and then set it aside. This can help create a mental boundary between your day and your sleep. The goal here is to give your mind permission to let go of the worries and frustrations from the day so that you can truly rest. Now, I know we've talked about hormones a lot in this episode, so let's touch on something that can really help balance out those hormones naturally: exercise. If you're someone who struggles with sleep, you might think that exercising at night will keep you up, but that's actually a myth. In fact, regular physical activity, particularly in the afternoon or early evening, can significantly improve sleep quality. The key is to find the right balance. Too much vigorous exercise too late at night can leave you feeling wired, but a moderate workout, like a walk, a swim, or a light jog, can help release endorphins and regulate your body's sleep-wake cycle. The important thing is that regular exercise has a calming effect on the body in the long run, and that includes improving your sleep. You might notice that after a few weeks of consistent activity, your body will start to naturally fall into a rhythm. You'll feel more tired at the right time, and your sleep will become deeper and more restorative. But remember, it's all about consistency. Like anything in life, when you stick with it, you start to see results. And finally, let's talk about something that might seem obvious but often gets overlooked: nutrition. What you eat throughout the day has a huge impact on your sleep at night. If you're consuming heavy, greasy meals right before bed, your body is going to be too busy digesting to allow you to fully relax and sleep. Similarly, consuming too much sugar, caffeine, or alcohol late in the day can interfere with your body's ability to fall into a deep, restorative sleep. Instead, focus on a balanced diet that includes whole foods, plenty of vegetables, and healthy fats. Foods that are rich in magnesium, such as leafy greens, nuts, and seeds, can help relax your muscles and prepare your body for sleep. And don't underestimate the power of a light evening snack. Something small and protein-rich, like a handful of almonds or a slice of turkey, can help stabilize your blood sugar levels and prevent those middle-of-the-night awakenings. Now that you have all of these tools at your disposal, it's time to start implementing them. But remember, this isn't about perfection. You're not going to fix your sleep overnight. It's about making small, consistent changes that will add up over time. I want you to think of this process as an investment in your future self. The better you sleep, the better you'll feel, the more energized and focused you'll be during the day, and the more control you'll have over your life. The road to better sleep starts today. I'm not saying it's going to be easy or that it's going to happen all at once, but with the right mindset and the right tools, you can absolutely take control of your sleep. You can retrain your body to follow its natural rhythm and get the quality rest you've been missing out on. So, take a deep breath, start small, and stay consistent. Your body and your mind will thank you. And when you wake up feeling rested and refreshed for the first time in a long time, you'll realize just how powerful a good night's sleep can be. Now, I know we've gone through a lot today. We've talked about the struggles with sleep, the science behind why it's so hard to get good rest, and we've even uncovered some surprising factors that you might not have realized were working against you. But here's the thing. All of that information, as helpful as it is just the beginning. It's the spark. The real change happens when you start applying what you've learned to your life. So, here's my challenge for you. I want you to take at least one thing from today's conversation and start implementing it tonight. Maybe it's the light exposure. We talked about how important it is to get natural sunlight during the day and limit artificial light at night. Maybe you'll start paying attention to your evening routine and reducing screen time before bed. Or maybe you'll set a consistent sleep schedule for yourself. Whatever it is, start small. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. The key is consistency. It's the little changes, repeated every day, that will start making a difference. Now, think about this for a moment. How many nights have you gone to bed frustrated, staring at the ceiling, wondering why it's so hard to fall asleep? Or how many mornings have you woken up feeling drained, like your body just didn't get the memo that it was time to recharge? But what if you could wake up tomorrow feeling refreshed, actually rested and ready to tackle the day? What if you could stop worrying about sleep and start focusing on how much more energized and clear-headed you could be if you were getting the right kind of rest? I'm not saying this is going to be an overnight fix, because it won't be. But what I am saying is that you have the power to turn this around. You don't have to settle for feeling tired all the time. The solutions are within your reach. They just take a little effort, a little commitment, and a willingness to change the way you think about sleep. And here's the beauty of it. Once you start seeing those changes, once you begin to feel the difference in how your body responds to a good night's sleep, you'll realize that it was all worth it. You'll notice it in your mood, your energy levels, your focus, and even your productivity. You'll wake up excited for the day ahead, and when the evening comes, you'll look forward to that deep, restorative sleep that your body has been craving. But here's the thing. You're not in this alone. I'm right here with you, and I want to hear about your progress. I want to know what's working for you, what challenges you're facing, and how you're feeling along the way. If you've been struggling with sleep, this is your opportunity to make a change, one step at a time. But that change starts with you. It starts with the decision to put your health first and commit to your rest. Your body is telling you that it's time to listen, and I promise you, when you do, you'll start seeing the benefits. So, let's make it happen together. Start tonight. Start by taking action. And as you do, I want you to think about what your life could look like with better sleep. Think about how much more vibrant, more focused, and more energized you'll feel every day. And as you go through the process, remember that it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Every small step you take is a victory, and those victories add up. I know it's hard, but remember, you don't have to be perfect. Just start. Start with the little things. The big changes will come with time, and I promise you, the results will be worth it. And don't forget, this is just the beginning. Sleep is foundational to your health, but it's not the only part of the equation. There's more to learn, more to explore, and I'm here for all of it. If you want to stay up to date on the latest sleep strategies and other ways to improve your health, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this episode with anyone who could benefit. The more we spread this message, the more we can help each other live better, healthier lives. So tonight, when you're winding down, think about all the good things that sleep can bring into your life. Think about the energy, the clarity, the calmness, and know that it's all within your reach. You've got this. And I can't wait to hear about your journey. Let's do this together, one night at a time. Good night and sweet dreams.